Today I'm going to show you how I made $240,310 in just 1 month drop shipping, and I'm only 21 years old. Tell you how you can literally just copy me in this video. Go from the product sourcing to making your branded looking store to your ads launch, and then how you can scale up. Behind each of these is a cover up. So I'm making this video because I feel like as a beginner it's very difficult to make this work for yourself, even with YouTube videos, because a lot of it is fabricated stuff now. To begin with, in the 3 pillars, we go with product sourcing. So in order to get those kind of numbers, and say if you just want to make $500 profit in a day and you want to be making that every single day consistently, the number one priority right now is going to be product sourcing. So where do you get your products from? How do you find them? And are you actually going to be testing products that are working? Because if you start testing the product and that product is got no validation behind it, and you're just doing it because you just like the product to yourself, then 9 times out of 10 it's not going to work. So in your product sourcing, you're going to be using meta ads and you're going to be using similar web. Now the method here is very simple. You're going to scroll on Facebook or you're going to scroll on Instagram. You can do both if you really want to go into it. And essentially what you're going to be doing here is you're tricking the algorithm into believing that you are a potential customer. So if you want to get into the cosmetic space, you're going to interact with cosmetic brands. So you'll scroll on Facebook and you'll see a cosmetic ad. You'll click on it. You'll go through the entire website, act like you're a customer, click add to cart, go through the reviews, blah, 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 blah. You basically just act like you're a customer. Same if you want to get into clothing. Same if you want to get into, laundry products, whatever it is. And essentially then you're going to get loads of products come up on your feed. To begin with, it's just going to be brands. Brands are going to come up on your feed, and it's not going to be drop shippers. Now, it's good to take note of these when you make your website, but what you want is the drop shippers, because obviously the brands, you can't copy their products. So eventually, if you're just scrolling on cosmetics and stuff, you're going to run into drop shippers eventually, because every single ad is going to be a cosmetic ad. And then you can easily make a list of 10 to 20 drop shippers who are running ads for cosmetics. And that's literally like how easy it is. And then what we'll do with that, once we have the product, is we'll use that for our ads launch and the creative testing. But that's it on that side. Then what you want to do is you want to use the platform called SimilarWeb, and you want to put these dropshipping sites into SimilarWeb, and you want to make sure that these people have at least at the minimum 100,000 monthly visitors to their site to even, look into their marketing and see it as a potential product that you could sell yourself. Now, if they have at least 100,000, because that probably means that they're running, lots of ads. And just to validate that, and that they're not doing it with just Google ads, and you want to make sure they're doing it with meta ads, you can go onto the Facebook ads library and find their profile and go to their page transparency. Page transparency will show you all of their ads, every single ad that they run. And you want to make sure that these ads are active. They are actively running ads. Now, I aim for the brands that I look at that they're running at least 30 active ads. You can filter it in the ad settings to find only active ads. And essentially, if they're running at least 30 active ads, it means that they're probably scaling this store to at least 10K plus days. And if that product that they're selling isn't saturated, then you have found a winner. Hands down, you have found a winner. Because it makes sense. If not many people are selling it, and these guys, they've got active ads running, they've got visitors, what more validation do you need than that? So then you can start selling that product for yourself, and you can make it work even better than they're making it work. That's the sauce here. That is the secret sauce here. And to do that, to make it better, to make the website better and the ads better than they are, you're going to go on to pillar number 2, and that is making a branded store. Now, the reason that we're making a branded store is so that you have a competitive advantage over these drop shippers. Now, if you're targeting the USA, like I personally am, I like the USA, then your store needs to have a branded touch. It needs to feel branded, because people in the USA, they know, they just know dropshippers. And in fact, even if they didn't know dropshippers, they don't like scammy looking websites, that's for sure, unless it's Temu or AliExpress. So the reason that we're using this method is because we want product collections that revolve just around one hero product, and it's not multiple different niches on one website. And you're using Canva to make professional photos, and you're using AI platforms like Ideogram AI, and you're making the collections look cohesive, like I said. Now, to do that, you have your collections are going to all revolve around your hero product. So once you found your product, you're going to add at least 10 or 20 products around that, because the goal here is then to increase your average order value as high as possible. The reason that you're going to add more products is because when it comes to testing your ads, say if you're at 100 daily budget and your product is $70. Now, let's say your product is $100, you're 100 daily budget. Now, if a customer buys just one product, you're not profitable. But if they buy one product at $100 and then they buy another product with a big markup, say $70, then your ad becomes profitable. So you want to have those in there, because then it means that you can scale your ads more effectively later on down the line. And that just gives you way more room for scale, and you can scale up really quickly. Now with your products, you need to change the images. You need to make them look branded, like it's a real brand. And you want to be very careful with this step. So you're going to remove the background and you're going to add shadows onto the product. Now, I like to use Canva for this. I think it's like $10 a month. Super, super easy to make. You don't need Photoshop. You don't need nothing like that. You can just use a simple platform like Canva and just make sure to perfect it and slap that on your product page. And that will make your website look more cohesive, and therefore people come to your website and think that you're more of a trusted brand. Because visually, the website is the most important thing, obviously below the product itself. Now, finally, we're going to use Ideogram. So you're going to go to your competitor's website, all the brands that you gathered, all the dropships that you gathered, and you're going to make sure that the pictures that they have used, they have shot that professionally. So that picture is unique to them, for their brand and their niche. And it needs to fit in with your theme. And then you're going to save that image, go to Ideogram, and then you can click on a thing called Remix. Now, that AI is going to make a photo 10 times better than that image ever looked like. And you can do whatever you want to it. If you wanted to have a yellow background instead of a white background, you could say to the AI, okay, remake this photo, but make the background yellow. And it won't copy the photo entirely, but it will make it look very similar. So you can't get done for copyright, and your store is going to look branded. Now, onto your ads launch. We're only using Facebook ads, and essentially once we've validated the product with all the KPIs that we're following, this will only just validate it further. Now, the method here is simple. You're going to copy your competitor's concept. You can simply use the text that is on their screen and remix their photos for AI, or you can simply use the product image and put your own USP text over the product image, just like your competitors are doing. Same text, same everything, but making sure you're not getting a DMCA and copying exactly what that image is. So if you need to remix it in AI, fine. Now, the reason you're copying right now is because you need to validate. Now, once you have validated, then you no longer copy, because copying is a huge problem to actually scale to really big numbers. Now that you've started testing and that you can see your product is getting some sales, congratulations, it's been validated. And once it's validated and you get some decent sales in your first campaigns, you now know, and that is very exciting, that you are very likely to scale to £500 in profit per day straight off the bat. And I'm going to show you how that works right now. Once you post your ad and you see that you have a profit margin of 20% or above in the first 48 hours of launching that ad, go on to step number 2. Very, very simple, guys. You double your budget from the initial $100 test that you did with the creatives in that campaign, and you double that budget from 100 to 200. It makes it very, very simple. Then you wait another 48 hours. Again, still profitable 20%. You go for 200 to 400. Then from 400 to 800 if it's 20% again. And then from there you can go up 20%. By the way, this is what you're spending to get eyeballs onto your product's page. This isn't revenue, this is the ad spend that you're spending. And this is how fucking fast it can go. Now let me run this through. So say you have, your product is £20 in cost of goods. You sell that product for £70, you get a £50 profit per item, before all the ads costs. If you have a 2.4 ROAS on £800 daily spend, you're making £1,900 in revenue. If you have an average order value of £140, so bear in mind, the selling price is £70, all that is 70 times 2. So people are just buying 2 products from your store, and that's a very common example. Then you get 14 orders from £1,920 in revenue. 14 orders, is that computing in your head? 14 orders, that's all you need to be making £2,000 almost revenue per day. Now, that means that with 14 orders per day, the cost of goods, so it's £20, and because it's £140 for 2 items, we need £40 for 2 items, the cost of goods that you're going to pay your supplier. That's £560 cost of goods for that day from like I said, £1,900 revenue. And you've had £800 ad spend. Your profit for the day is £560. And that's how simple it is. You find your product, you validate the product, you run ads for it, you're already making £560 profit just in one day. That's how quickly it can go. From there, you can't just, rip other competitors' ads. You should be making it yourself. But you've already got something that works. So imagine how easy it is then to take what's worked, reach out to a UGC creator and say, hi, this is what's worked for us so far. Can you just recreate this? Blah, 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 blah. Let's put some spins on it. Let's do a different hook, etc., etc. Then you can be testing a few campaigns every week. One of those campaigns hit every week, you go from £560 to £1,100 profit in a day, and so on and so on. That's how easy it is, guys.